comes the blitz. They give it to Flowers. Flowers carrying the ball sparingly with a cutback to the 32-yard line. And he did go off earlier in the year. Mike had a couple of 200-plus yard rushing games, which is almost unheard of. I mean, that's some serious yardage. But tonight he was held well under 100 yards in the first half, but he still was a good compliment because John Leonard, as we said, was responsible for 7/8 of the total offensive production for the Warriors. So, I mean, the yards have got to come somewhere, so it's just nice to have any kind of balance from someplace else. Kralik, the wide out to the left. Chapman is in the slot. Two backs behind Leonard. Bird, the up back. They fake the dive play to Flowers. They're going to go deep. Here's Kralik at the 25. So the transfer from Tennessee at 5'9", 185 pounds, Kevin Kralik gives it a diving effort. Well, I'll tell you, he was gaining on it, too. When that ball left John Leonard's hands, I didn't think Kralik had a chance to get there. And he almost outran the football, if you could say that it's possible to do that. He just ran under that thing and just missed coming up short of the dive. He's got a great hometown. He's from Summer, Washington. Summer, Washington. You know who his neighbor is? Winter Falls? Summer Sanders. At the 32 with 9:16 left here in the third quarter. 46-24, the Warriors. Flowers takes the hit, spins across the 40, all the way up to the 43. He's about 6'1", 195 pounds, and he can be a punishing runner inside. The Warriors really don't have a power fullback, even though Sonny Bird is much bigger. He's a slashing runner also, like Dell Flowers is, and Flowers is a speedster who likes to get to the outside. Right, well, Clifton Ueno, the DB, who's 6 foot, 185 pound, actually made the hit at the 38-yard line, and the game goes 6 yards past that. So that's an example of needing to hit somebody and then wrap up, and it's now 19 first downs on the game for El Camino. 11-yard pickup for Dell Flowers, a first down from the 43, 2 wideouts left. Flowers, 45, cuts it back. He's at the 50, carries down to the Santa Monica 47-yard line. There's right to the first down marker, and then a flag is thrown. Well, first down is the call. Well, we're going to take another look at the previous play. Del Flowers spinning and knifing his way. This time he turns upfield. Now here comes the big hit right there. Now watch. Dell's going to get 6 yards after this hit by staying on his feet. He does a better job at than anybody of doing that. He does pick up the extra yardage. So on this play, after Flowers carries to the 46, there's a personal foul called against Santa Monica, and their head coach, Robert Taylor, stands with his hands on his hip about 5 yards onto the playing field. Again, with a first down after a 15-yard mark-off, the Warriors at the Santa Monica 40 make that 32-yard line. Well, Mike, it was Graylick and Mitchell Fitzhugh right out by the 50-yard line, completely away from the play that took place over here by our sideline, just shoving each other, and the penalty went against Santa Monica. Near hash mark. Leonard setting up a screen, holds onto it. He has Rashad Reed, spins away from one at the 30. Then they wrap him up. Coming up to make the stop, Robert Porter, defensive end who made first team All-Western States Conference at 6'2", 245 pounds. And yet another late flag after the end of the play. And by the Corsair's reaction, they put their heads down. And it's going to be against them. Santa Monica with another 15-yard markup. There it is. Is he auditioning? I think he is. He really gets up there on the toes. I wish we had a telestrator. I could just draw him in. I mean, he gets his whole body into that. That's why I said he must have been a javelin thrower, because what form? But Coach Taylor now on the field, Mike, in front of us at the 30-yard line talking. Now, this is the teams are at the line of scrimmage, and here's this conversation going on because he is just so frustrated at this point. And wait a minute, the ball's about to be snapped. Flowers, 13 carries, 94 yards now, Mike, so he's knocking on the door to 100 yards. Place the ball at the 15.
Right down here.
Coach, now that's the back judge that he was talking to, right? So he's going to go all the way back out. That's the man who watches Wilson. Greg Wilson has a short visit with Coach Taylor. At the 15, first down, Warriors, leading by 22. Here's Leonard looking for Flowers, and Leonard gets dumped on his backside. It's Mike Bailey with pressure on the quarterback.
pass is incomplete, and the Warriors with a 2nd and 10 at the 15.
Mike Bailey's one of those guys that we talked about earlier that's out of St. Monica High School. They're a much smaller population private school there in the city of Santa Monica. So they've got 3 high schools out there, Mike, in Crossroads, St. Monica, and Santa Monica, but the enrollment is night and day between the 2 schools. You've got almost 3,000 students in Santa Monica. Both Crossroads and St. Monica are under 1,000, sometimes even 400 and 500 when they have small years.
With a 2nd and 10 from the 15, Arnold to the left side. He already has 2 touchdown catches on the afternoon, and John Leonard has thrown 5. 1 remaining back. They fake it inside handoff to Flowers. They set up a screen. Antonio Chapman. Chapman zigzags, goes into the end zone. A flag is thrown at about the 5-yard line. And maybe calling a penalty against Santa Monica. Looks like the call, and Chapman with the score from 15 yards out.
Well, I can't believe it. It looked like a hold by El Camino. They do everything right on the play. This is a beautifully designed play to initial some blocking and set up great blocking for Chapman, but I thought there was some holding. We'll see what the call is.
Well, Reed was standing right there in the center of the play and looked like he was going to get the holding call or an illegal pick because they were setting up that screen for the wideout, and that is the call, holding against the Warriors. And I'm sure it's going to be called against Rashad Reed.
Yeah.
If they set up the flanker screen and Reed was out there on the wing. So the touchdown is nullified. That would have been John Leonard's 6th of the afternoon.
Well, he's not done yet.
Ball is at the 7th, make it the 18-yard line now.
Flowers the only man in the backfield, so Reed and Chapman have been the wideout threat.
7:53 to go in the 3rd. Signals being called by Leonard. May have checked off. He's got Chapman near side. Pressure. Here comes the blitz. And the outside linebacker, Johnny Bailey, making the tackle.
Yeah,
Leonard
Bailey
dropped back at the 28-yard line.
Yeah, they bring everybody from the outside. It's a good call on the defensive side of the ball because Leonard was audibilizing at the line of scrimmage and was probably trying to check off and get something out to one of his wings. So by bringing the pressure from there, they always say you want to throw the ball into the teeth of a blitz, but it's very difficult to do. And if you're trying to audibilize from that situation, it'll be real hard to make a read on the fly. And a good decision by Leonard not to throw an interception.
Well, a 10-yard loss at the 28. After the Warriors found themselves 1st and 10 from the 15, they now have a 3rd and 23. There's Leonard looking to the end zone. 2 receivers are there. This one is picked off.
He should stay in there.
He's going to down it and stay in the end zone. Interception, the 2nd of the afternoon, thrown by John Leonard. This one is picked off by Fitzhugh, and now another play.
And this play is going to go against Rashad Reed, Mike, who absolutely decked number 4, Johnny Bailey, who made the good play a moment ago in there at the linebacking core, was back on pass protection on that one, and Reed took a cheap shot on him. So now we've got a little bit of frustration being vented by both teams here in the second half.
2 interceptions on the afternoon, 1 to close out the first half. That ball was just thrown up for grabs. But this one, there were 2 receivers streaking towards the goal line, and Leonard misfires to throw that interception, but he's picked off by Fitzhugh.
Well, we'll see the replay. The Warriors needed to get to the 4-yard line. Now watch Rashad Reed in the top of your screen. He's one of the possible guys. Well, he's the one that the ball is actually intended for. So now the tackle is going to take place over here on the right. Well, Reed got into the fisticuffs and the pushing and shoving with the linebacker back about 10 yards or so to the left of where you saw the ball being down.
2 interceptions for John Leonard today, numbers 9 and 10. 1st and 10 from the 35. Smith is out of the game, and they bring in the backup quarterback.
Oh, boy.
Castaneda. Castaneda scrambles and can't get back to the line of scrimmage. He's stopped for a loss of 1 to the 34, and there's all kinds of stuff going on the field away from our picture and away from the play.
And the officials are really going to have to stay on top of things and blow their whistles right away, and that's why you hear the extra toot after the initial down whistle being heard, because that means guys are still going at it. Justin Howell out of Redondo Union with a nice tackle there. So another Seahawk player from the Ocean League making their presence felt at El Camino.
A loss of 1 on the play. Now they give it to El Tricky Brown. And 2 more Warriors. We're talking about Waller and Maloa. Give a pop on Brown right on the sideline. And the flags again. I'm not sure if we'll be able to finish this game.
I'm telling you, this is going to be a wild one.
Tempers have reached the zenith, and here's Robert Taylor. He's probably going to say, 2 more plays and we're out of here.
Well, we got a guy down here on the near sideline in front of us that's probably a player that's been hurt all year or an ex-player, and he got involved. He's not even suited up, Mike, and he was shouting and shoving over by the sideline here. Remember, it's a very unfriendly grounds whenever you run out of bounds on the opposition's bench. So,
and Robert Taylor is pointing at Dolores Grant, saying, get back to your defensive huddle, get away from our sideline, which is the proper thing to do. And finally, the officials grab Grant, drag him away. And John Featherstone has a few words to say for the officials. He says, I'm going to call a timeout. I'm going to get my defense over here.
And good decision to do that.
And tell him to calm down and just play on the field.
There's the guy right in front, pushing and shoving, wearing the blue jacket. He actually made a punch. Now, we've got that on video right there.
Right into Tavia Maloa.
He comes with the right hand, and we'll see. There it is. It's a shove. It's not a punch. We can't say. Right in front of Tavia Malloy, and good work, guys, with the camera. Back and forth. He's the guy that was actually just restrained and taken off the field by the own Long Beach coaching staff. So we don't know what he's doing down there. Obviously, he wasn't happy that he got hit. But temper's really flaring here in the second half.
Ball is at the 46-yard line as Coach Featherstone calls his defense over with Jim Bunyard, his defensive coordinator, and they're going to try and calm the Warrior defense down. You know, the initial hit was right on the sideline. I don't think that's where the call was. It's when several backups got to the play that they drove the ball carrier out of bounds.
Very hostile environment when you get out by the backups out there. Because remember, Mike, those are guys that aren't even happy to be backups. So they're mad at everybody at that point. They want to get in the game, and they get some action when somebody comes over to their side.
So he's right on the sideline when the initial hit is made, but this sideline skirmish.
That guy wearing the blue jacket is a member of the Santa Monica either coaching staff or a player that's not suited up today, one of the two. So
I'm sure that's one that the conference officials or state officials would be glad to review.
Indeed he do. And there's the first down signal. We see it again. Boy, he gets out there on that toe so nice.
So with 6:06 to go, the lights have been turned on here at Murdoch Stadium. And we resume play from the 45 with the Warriors leading 46-24.
Oh, boy.
Castaneda sack. The ball comes loose, picked up by Moala, and he's going to return it for a touchdown. It's going to come back.
Now, wait a minute. They're going to call this. Not only is he down, they're going to keep the clock running, but they're going to call it Corsair ball. And I thought for sure that ball was up on his shoulder, Mike, following the hit. So
it's not ruled an incomplete pass or a fumble. They're going to say he was down. So the clock is running with 5:45 to go.
They're just simply going to call it a sack. So Santa Monica with another break, and the Warrior defense now spending a lot of time looking over here at the bench, Mike, for Santa Monica. That's not a good sign. You need to focus, get back to playing hard-nosed football.
Smith back in, throws a flanker screen. The Warriors read it. Foreman is there making the tackle along with Moala.
Well, here's the last play. We'll see if we can see the fumble. There's the hit. And that ball was out, Mike. That ball was out before being picked up and taken back by Moala. So, boy, I'm thinking a big break being caught by the Corsaires. And boom, that ball's loose. And now his buttocks hits the ground, picked up by Moala. Easily could have been 6 points for the Warriors.
Looked like it was the blitz by Osmond. Smith juggles. Now he throws deep. Cephas at the 10, the 5, touchdown. He slips Trevon Waller at the 5 and goes in for the score. 45 yards on a scrambling effort as Dylan Smith hits Antonio Cephas for the touchdown. It's 46-30. This game is far from over. The Warriors lead by 16, and we're still in the third quarter with 4:35 remaining.
And, Mike, I don't believe the arm strength by Smith. I mean, he rolled out like we've seen him do before, and he throws it off 1 foot. That was a 55-yard throw with complete accuracy and one of the tightest spirals we've seen all year. Just a beautifully thrown football by Smith.
So Smith to Cephas. The point after by McGee is good. 46-31. And now they're within 2 scores. And if anything can happen if you go for a 2-point conversion.
Cephas now with 8 receptions for 97 yards, 1 touchdown. And we'll take another look at the touchdown score. Busted play right off the bat. Smith picks it up off the ground. And look at that, Mike, off the back foot. Look at that pass. I mean, that thing is gorgeous. It's a bullet. And only one man to beat. He slips away from Trevon Waller, and it's over.
Let's see that one more time, Paul.
I mean, amazing. Great job by Smith.
He's been under duress all afternoon. So the ball was at the 49, so it's a 51-yard touchdown pass, and he throws the ball, as you said, Chris, about 60 yards in the air.
Sure. Amazing. Amazing. Smith, 18 for 31, 179 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown. So he has kept life into this Corsair.
Warriors better look for that onside kick.
They better.
They pulled it once already. Here's Reed from the 18. Comes to the center of the field. Cuts it up. 35-40. 45, spins. He's still on his feet. Goes down at the Santa Monica 48-yard line. This has been the most entertaining game of the year.
I mean, amazing. Just an offensive showstopper. And you said 35 or 33 would be a good point total for each team. Well, we've gone well beyond that. You called it. 39 points in the first half is the Warriors' normal game total. They get 39 here in the first and go right past that. So 46-31, and we're going to see well over 100 points, I'm sure.
Well, we've got 77 already in the ball game. The Warriors now at the 49-yard line. Here's the return by Reed. He just had one more man to beat. Quick slant. Ulrich makes the catch at the 43. Ball comes out. Picked up by Santa Monica. Down the near sideline. 20, 10, 5. Spence goes in for a touchdown. They didn't rule it dead. He picks it up and goes about 50 yards. And so when they saw the Warriors score 8 points in 30 seconds, Santa Monica has scored 2 touchdowns in about 15 seconds.
And they ruled out a catch, Mike. I can't believe it. Everyone waiting for the whistle. I was waiting for it, but you know what? They teach the guys play on until you hear a whistle. So just like we saw El Camino score 10 points or 9 points in the first half in a matter of about 30 seconds, guess what? It's inside of a minute that the Corsairs come back with a possibility here of 14 points following this PAT. 55-yard fumble return for the score. Amazing.
Jerome Spence, 5'10", 180-pound sophomore from Oakland, picks up the loose ball, takes it for a score, and the point after is missed. That's the second one this afternoon that Scott McGee has missed. And here's another look at the pickup. Spence comes down the sideline. Sonny Bird gets blocked out of the play, and he's all by himself.
Nobody to catch him. Spence finding himself putting together a wonderful football game here.
And Josh has been doing our stats. Used 3 full pages of notes in the first half, and now he's used 6 in the game, and we're still in the third quarter.
Josh will be asking for a new notepad for Christmas. And there you see Coach Featherstone on the far side, still talking, still explaining, saying, hey, look it, we have a whistle before the ball even appears to be down on you guys. And next thing you know, I got a guy on my back with a football on his stomach, and then it pops loose, and I'm waiting for a whistle, and I don't hear it. So Featherstone's got to believe it. Got to have the feeling that everything's going against him here in the third quarter, as well as everything went for the Warriors in the second. It's been a complete reversal of fortune here in the third quarter.
This is like a doubleheader. The Warriors won the first half, and Santa Monica has won the second half.
Oh, how strange. A penalty here on the next play.
Warriors led at halftime by 22 points, 39-17. And now they've been outscored 20-7 and only 11 minutes into the third quarter. 46-37, Coach Featherstone looks a bit lost and confused over there. He said, where did we lose the handle on this?
Yep, the master plan all just kind of went out the window when you start not getting a call and you can't buy a break, and all of a sudden you can't execute, and next thing you know, it's a complete reversal of fortune. So they've got to come back and score. It's hard to believe you ask your offense to score you 46 points in a game, and you're hoping for more. That is exactly the case today.
So they kick it off. It's taken at the 25-yard line, Antonio Chapman. The coaches exhorting the officials goes to make a clipping call on the return by Chapman, but no flag is thrown. The ball's at the 32, and the Warriors got to start all over again.
Well, fortunately for the Warriors, they haven't had trouble moving the ball long distances, and that's what they'll have to do again. Not bad field position at the 32, but it appeared that Marvis Davis was the guy that was clipped on that play, Mike, right in front of us, and the coaches next door scream and holler. They're seeing everything, but it brings up a good point this game. When do you as officials start letting stuff go? These are the plays that when you have too many penalties and too many flags thrown, those are the ones they let go. They're going to keep calling the unsportsmanlike and the personal fouls. You have to keep calling those. These blocks and these funny holds and all that stuff, these are the plays that they let slip through the cracks. It's human nature.
Pass to Chapman, complete at the 40. Slipped one tackle, knocked out of bounds at the 48-yard line. So that combination has been successful all afternoon from John Leonard to Antonio Chapman.
And one thing to John Leonard's credit, Mike, no matter where they've asked him to start on the field, he has not panicked. He has been the most in-control player out there all day long. It's been a beautiful thing to witness because his team is just in a dogfight here for their lives on the last game of the season. I mean, this is one that they do not want to lose. A win would just make the season for Santa Monica. We talked about it, their mind frame coming in. They were going to treat this as a good warm-up game for next year.
Leonard threw for over 400 yards in the first half.
Good move by Chapman to get to the outside. That's his bread and butter.
From the 48 over the middle, this one's incomplete. And there's Hendricks putting a hand up. May have deflected it, certainly bothered John Leonard's delivery.
Well, they've done a good job on Hendricks to keep him from causing too much trouble today. Chapman now with 3 receptions for 83 yards, so he's just been one of the weapons used by John Leonard. But Coach Taylor really thought that Hendricks, well, he told us. We asked him what kind of player he is. He says, you'll see. So that usually gives a good indication as far as the coach's confidence in a player when he says, hey, just watch. Just take a look. You'll make up your own mind. And I really believe he's a very good football player.
Lined up right next to him is number 90, Mark Harkins, who's 6'4" and 290. From the 48, Leonard with a checkoff. Bird and Flowers shift to the right. There's a slant. Complete to Arnold. It's a race to the goal line. 20, 10, 5, touchdown Warriors. So it was a great checkoff as Leonard comes to the line of scrimmage. Looks right, looks left, sees the defense. He's got one-on-one coverage from the left side with Sharon Arnold, and he hits him for a 52-yard touchdown.
Amazing. Just throw another log on the fire for John Leonard's stats. Unbelievable. You're right, Mike. Great checkoff at the line of scrimmage. Fantastic. Great audibilization. They decide what they want to do, and they exploit that secondary over the middle that I thought's been open so much of the game. And just a beautiful slant. And how low speed when you're talking about getting the ball in the hands of Arnold. He's gone.
So Leonard, I think, ties an El Camino passing record with his 6th touchdown pass of the afternoon. I think Sarkeesian may hold that record. The conversion is good by Flynn Turner, and the Warriors lead 52-37. So Tim Green, who went on to play at USC after attending El Camino, holds the record with 6, set in 1982, and John Leonard has tied that today.
And he's got plenty of time in which to break that record, Mike. It could be shattered. He could easily throw for 2 more scores. I mean, amazing. 8 touchdowns in a game is unheard of. John Leonard right now, is that correct? 431 yards. I had to ask. Josh says, yeah, that's the numbers. 431 yards, Mike. Amazing. And he's on the Sarkeesian track. 645 Sark put up in 1994 in their bowl game.
And watch Ron Arnold. He just turns on the speed at the 30 out of South Torrance. Maybe he ought to change his number every week. He had 3 touchdown catches in the final game of the year against Orange Coast. And so in his last 2 games, he has 6 touchdowns for the Warriors.
Yeah, he's been a
low line drive kick handled by Greer at the 30. He brings it back to the 37, and on every special teams play, there are bodies flying everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hard-fought, hard-hitting event out there. Like I said, those are the guys that get out on the field that don't have a chance to go at it all the time. As you see Steve Schmitz with the towel around his neck, former North High School athletic director. His son Scott had a fantastic season at North High last year. He's helping out with the defense this year and has stepped into the defensive coordinator's training spot. Jim Bunyard honored at the half, coming out of the half, by his fellow coaches and by the athletic director, Dave Shannon, for his contributions here. Since 1971, he's been doing Warrior football, Mike.
Brown gets trapped behind the line of scrimmage. Dropped for a loss of 2. Here's Greer on that special teams return, and Sean Ain is there.
And my man
from behind.
Boots Mesa, number 91, getting in there and making things happen, too. They use him. He does a good job, old Boots, at 6'1", 246. Not the biggest guy, but out of El Segundo, but done a great job.
A loss of 2, second and 12 at the 36. Fake the draw. Smith scrambles. Chased by Matt Tupola. Sam Tuola is also. And Smith delivers a nice diving catch across the way made by El Tricky Brown. And Brown gets a big gain, close to a first down. And they're going to give him the first down at the 48-yard line.
That's their 13th first down, Mike.
12-yard pickup.
So right in the face of Eric Barnes, they go back to Brown, who's been rather unheard of as far as the running game's concerned in the second half. But nothing wrong with those hands. He came up with a nice reception there with Barnes all over him.
We're still in the third quarter. It's 52-37. Check that. 53, they did make the conversion with 2:20 to go. On a slant pattern intended for Eugene Sykes. That's incomplete. Pressure with Grant right in the face of Dylan Smith. Stops the clock, 2:16 to go. 53-37 Warriors. And if this is the show that they can put on for the first Southbay Classic, you can really look forward to some exciting games here at Murdoch Stadium, El Camino College home field.
Yeah, everybody's got to like an offensive football game. It takes a special breed to truly appreciate a defensive battle. When you're talking about some of the conferences in the NFL, you got the Bears involved, and they go on to win 6-3 sometimes. But this has been a pleasure.
Nice touch. Completes it. Devon Smith at the 24. First down. They roll him out at the 23.
Amazing. Smith's got the bad shoulder. He gets up, and now it looks like his leg. He's favoring it, but he still found a way to hang on. So he's got that bad ankle. He shook it up in the first half, but he doesn't want to come off the field. He's going to head back out there, and he looks for another play call from his quarterback, Smith.
30-yard pickup, a first down. The ball's at the Warrior 22-yard line. 2 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. And we're going to have to double-check on Dylan Smith's passing today, because he's certainly tacked on some yardage.
Well, I believe he's over 200 yards now, Mike.
So the two quarterbacks passing for over 650 yards this afternoon. We have a quarter to go. Here's Brown inside. Bulls his way to the 15. Foreman is on the bottom of the stack along with Sam Taloa. Clock is still running with 1:15 to go. Martin comes out. He's the blocking back for this offensive set.
The passing of Dylan Smith, Mike, now 220 yards, 20 for 33.
Smith, incomplete. Intended for Smith. The Foreman is defending. And he rushed that pass. We're getting all the feedback from the offensive coordinator for Santa Monica.
Well, another stat to keep our eye on today, Mike. The team record for El Camino, most points ever put up in a game, 69 versus Laney in 1975. And at this point, they have 53 with still a 15-minute quarter, the fourth quarter remaining. So there could be records falling all over the place.
Well, they put up 63 earlier this year in a win over Golden West. Inside handoff, round to the 8-yard line. Their first game of the year, the first of 5 straight wins. They defeated Golden West 63-23. This is going to be a record-setting day here at El Camino College. The clock is running, 45 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The ball's at the 9-yard line. And Santa Monica knocking on the door.
But again, you have to be in such great shape. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys get really tired here in the fourth quarter.
Power set. Fake to Brown. Smith. Grant's got him. Wraps him up. Drops him at the 12. And Jackson and Grant start to celebrate.
That should be a
Grant's
flag.
going to get a flag.
And
he
it is.
comes over and tries to taunt right in the face of the Santa Monica bench down below it.
And Featherstone's going crazy, and Grant's going to find himself right out of the game in a hurry, and there's no guarantees he'll come back in. I mean, you'll make a great play, Mike. You take away some yardage, and all of a sudden they get the yardage taken away plus even more added on. And that's an angry man with his jaw locked. You don't want to go to the sideline with that jaw looking at you. I mean, he doesn't have to say anything. Look at that.
Grant makes a great play, drops the quarterback. They lose 3, and then he stands and poses and taunts Santa Monica.
And Grant wants no part of him.
Going to walk away. Goes to the bench and walks away from Coach Featherstone and walks all the way up to the sideline.
He wants no part of Coach Feather at that point. I don't blame him. Coach Featherstone, not the biggest man in stature, but he can put the fear of God in you. As we see the good play, and then he jumps up with the silly penalty.
Here's Smith, delivers it, knocked away with a nice defensive effort. Putting a hand on it, deflecting it is Justin Howell.
Here's the end of the play. Jackson also in on it. Now, they both get up, and they're allowed to celebrate. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that inside the rules. And just some shoving and pushing going around on the ground. But when you get up and then you turn and you direct it to the bench, Mike, that's just blatant. I mean, it's okay to celebrate, to get the fans involved. That's why they're here. You play to the fans. I mean, you get emotions off the fans. You feed off them. But you just cannot show up anybody, and that will draw a flag.
Third down from the 5. They fake the pitch. Quarterback rollout wide open. Smith finds the tight end for the touchdown. Coming up with a catch, Carlos Wells, 6'2", 220-pound sophomore from Crenshaw High School. So with nice play action, they started out, they faked the pitch to Brown going to the right, then a bootleg by Dylan Smith coming to the near side. He could have run it in as easily as passing to the tight end Wells for the score.
One of the prettiest plays the Corsairs have run today. That was just beautiful, and they've got to go for 2 now, right, Mike? I mean, check me if I'm wrong, because they gave that up earlier. So you're talking about a 37-53.
So it's 43. They haven't put the last touchdown on the scoreboard yet.
So this will cut it to 8 points if they can convert. And here we see the easy touchdown score. Look at the tight end, wide open. That's one of those where you're just licking your chops, nobody around. And tight ends love to do that, Mike. They love to hang out in the back of the end zone and just hide, and you can't find them. And we have a little mismatch, a little miscommunication to get at the line on this 2-point attempt.
So they're going to get called, flagged for a delay of game on the point after. And now I'm sure they're going to come out with that trick formation where they had 4 at the line of scrimmage and then move 5 more to the other side. That was the final play of the third quarter, but we're still waiting for the point after attempt. The penalty for delay of game will be 5 yards against Santa Monica.
Right. So this will be the final play of the third quarter. There you see the 15 minutes being reset back on the clock, so they will attempt the PAT now following the penalty.
They're going to go for 1. Ball at the 15. Well, after missing 2 earlier, McGee converts this one, and the score stands 53-44. Now they put the point on the El Camino side of the scoreboard. They put the score up at 54-43. It should be 53-44.
Oh, yeah, everybody's figured it out now.
And they've corrected it. Okay. So we've got the correct score. We've played 3. This is a great ball game. We're coming back on TCTV. Points on the board as we start the fourth quarter. You're watching the Southbay Classic on TCTV to kick off the Del Flowers. The 35-40, a flag thrown. He crosses midfield. So the Warriors mix up their kickoff returns and use their most proficient running back, Del Flowers, second-team All-America, to return this kick, and a flag is at the 43.
Yeah, I think that's right at the point where it took place. I think we had a block in the back at the 43, and it'll be a penalty enforced from the infraction. So most of that nice run will be negated by Dell.
53-44. Warriors over Santa Monica.
Yep, and that's the signal you saw by the official explaining to John Featherstone. Had a hold of the defensive player at the top of the back and threw him. You cannot do that. You can't grab the top of the shoulder. It's an illegal block in the back. Mike, are you ready for these numbers? 530 yards of total offense for El Camino, 421 yards of total offense for Santa Monica. That's over 3 quarters, mind you. And the asterisk here is that over 100 yards of the Corsairs offense has come from Warrior penalties. They have given them 100 yards of total offense thus far.
Well, that's really a separate category, but it has hurt the Warriors today. Leonard completes to Chapman. Chapman to the turf at the 40-yard line after a 7-yard pickup, and John Leonard continues to add to his total offensive total.
Yep, he just, like I said, the most poised guy out there, Mike. Nothing has rattled him today. He has come out. If I'm a Division I coach and I'm wondering, can this guy play in a bowl stadium? Can this guy play at our arena in front of, 40, 50, 100,000 fans? John Leonard has answered those questions for me. His poise has been amazing today.
7-yard pickup as we are into the fourth quarter, 53-44. Here's Flowers sweeping right. Stutter step move. Loses the tackler. Carries to the 44. He's going to pick up a first down for the Warriors on the ground. It'll depend on their placement, but from here he looks like he's got it. Now they'll move the chain.
Waiting for the first down call from the official. It's always the highlight of my seeing the chains move. There's a junior Seau in training, a future Warrior linebacker perhaps.
Pitch to Flowers. Drags Bailey with him across the 50. Picks up another 8 to the Santa Monica 48-yard line.
Yeah, he's close to another first down, which enables them, means they can throw long for John Leonard. This is like a free play for them. But we have another flag down.
As a matter of fact, he carried both Baileys on that play. Mike Bailey and Johnny Bailey, 40 and 4 respectively.
The Bailey brothers. Where's Ringling? Where are the Ringling brothers?
As we look at referee Jim Farmer, cranks the clock. 13:30.
Flowers, 15 carries for 108 yards, so he's past the century mark. Means he's going to get his name in the paper. You think John Leonard will, Mike?
This game began over 3 hours ago in bright sunlight. Now the sun is beginning to set, and we're under artificial lighting here at Murdoch Stadium. Here's Leonard with 6 touchdown passes already. Drury with another big catch, still on his feet at the 25, and he's going to go in for a Warrior touchdown. He shakes 2 tacklers back at the 30-yard line.
Mike, we have seen 2 completely bizarre touchdowns, and this is one of them. Earlier, the ball being fumbled forward and being run in by Sharon Arnold, and now this one. They have used the tight end today amazingly. I mean, just picked their spots to throw to him, and everything has been flawless whenever they've gone to the tight end Drury. He has come up roses, and this time nobody bothers to tackle him, so he just turns left and goes in for a score.
A Warrior passing record this afternoon held by Tim Green for 17 seasons has been broken. John Leonard, 7 touchdown passes this afternoon, over 500 yards. The conversion is good. The Warriors add to their total. The score stands 60-44. El Camino over Santa Monica, and here's Drury with an escort from Reed and Arnold.
And he was in easy, Mike. That was no trouble there. So they'll go back to the far sideline, and John Stevenson will be smiles now on the far side, whereas Mr. Grant, DeLawrence Grant, had to answer to a rather not so happy John Featherstone. So it's been 2 different teams today for the Warriors. It's been an offensive team that's absolutely amazing, and it's been a defensive team that has really frustrated the coaching staff, and they're wondering why they've been sputtering. Well, a lot of credit has got to go to the Santa Monica Corsairs, and Drury now suddenly with 4 receptions for 171 yards. Mike, that's nearly 50 yards a reception. He's up around 38 yards a reception. Wow, what an incredible job.
Flynn Turner getting plenty of action today.
There he goes again.
Kickoff picked up from the 8. A return by Savon Smith. The 40. One man to beat. That's Flynn Turner. Misses his tackle. The 30, 20. Race for the end zone. One Warrior dives for him. Touchdown. Dante Gamble was the last Warrior at the 5, missed the tackle, and he goes back 92 yards on the return, and the score is 60-50. And we're not talking hoops, baby.
Oh, well, we should be. There's a lot of teams in the area last year that had a great deal of trouble, turn off of the truck, please, and have had a great deal of trouble scoring this many points in a game, Mike. That was the problem with the South Bay last year. We couldn't see any hoopsters get any points on the board. El Camino's longest kickoff return ever is 98 yards. This one goes 92 by Santa Monica. Absolutely incredible, Mike. Just what this game needed. Something to really spice it up because it's been so dull and boring.
And the Warriors had enough shots at him. And this will make it exciting again as McGee misses his 3rd point after. So it's still a 10-point advantage.
Well, we got a flag down again on the far side. If it's against the Warriors, then the Corsairs have to go for 2, and it is.
So Robert Taylor wants his offense to gather around him on the near sideline. He grabs Dylan Smith, his All-Western Conference quarterback, and hustles him back into the game. And they're going to go for 2.
And the play clock
12:45
starts
to
now.
go, 60-50.
Right. He has started the play clock. Whenever you see the official come down with that little mini hitch, that is the wind is for the game clock. The mini hitch is for the play clock. So his back judge will start and look at that. Now, remember, this is the problem that the Corsairs ran into. They couldn't get a playoff last time in this exact situation. They ended up having to kick it. They need to take advantage now.
They don't go for a trick play. They're lined up with a power set. They give it to Brown. He's in for the 2-point conversion. As Ladarius Jackson tried to grab him and pull him back out of the end zone, but that was a little too late. It's 60-52. You know, we're going to have to talk to our producer at CCTV, Paul Fernelli, and see if we can just do these games live, because when we put them on tape, we start running out of tape.
Exactly. We're going to take another look at the touchdown return. Boy, this is going to be a long one. There he is.
He falls, picks it up at the 12-yard line. They'll make it an 88-yard return.
It's official, but the amount of people he has to beat, look at the footwork. I mean, amazing. Fantastic body control by Smith. And there he goes. You think he's out of gas there at the end. He's being pursued highly by Dante Gamble, but he had the angle all the way. There was nobody who was going to catch him. What an amazing, amazing return. The sideline exploded for Santa Monica. They're going crazy. This game has been such an emotional roller coaster. I mean, it's up and down for both teams. It has really been a dogfight. Amazing, amazing football game. Glad we could be here today bringing you the action, folks.
88-yard kickoff return. Now let's see what Chapman does going the other way. He's at the 40. Dragged down from behind at the 42. If the one remaining Corsair hadn't made the tackle, as Melvin Hayes didn't grab him from behind, he looked like he was going to go about 90 yards for a score.
Sure did. Smith with 159 yards on 2 kickoff returns. So, I mean, there's a guy that's getting it done. Now, remember, the Warriors have done just as good a job on kickoff returns. They haven't run one back, but they have always had the ball near the 50-yard line. They've had great field position today, mainly because of guys like Reed and Chapman. And
they jumped by Flowers on one.
Flowers and Arnold as well. So they've had a super job.
From the 42, Warriors with a precarious 8-point lead now at 60-52. Leonard over the middle. He's got Chapman. He juggles it. Ball is knocked away, and it's going to be ruled incomplete, but he made a great second effort.
Well, it was almost as if Arnold tipped it to himself intentionally, trying to catch it again the second time.
They're now making the public address announcement that John Leonard has passed Tim Green in the record book with 7 touchdown passes this afternoon for the freshman from Santa Ana's Mater Dei.
There's the catch. Look at that. He almost tips it to himself the second time and just falls incomplete. 17 for 30, 493 yards now for John Leonard.
Leonard from the 42 for the 2nd and 10. On a reverse play, they try and give it to Flowers. Flowers slips away.
Almost a strip, Mike, by the big
lineman. Can't believe that he got away from him and still was able to get to the 38-yard line to make it a loss of 5. And Santa Monica supporters are staying to the bitter end.
Well, that's number 55's mom. That says a proud mom, Louie. And it's Daniel Luque, the offensive guard, 6'2", 275-pounder out of University High School. So she's up cheering for him because he reads this play, and this play goes nowhere. They try to fake the bomb from Leonard, which really everybody should fall for. The guy's executed it beautifully today. And instead, on the handoff, they're going to run into their own guy and fall down.
So whoever has possession last and can put it in the end zone is going to win this ball game. The Warriors protecting an 8-point lead. Leonard steps up in the pocket. He's going to scramble. He's right at the line of scrimmage. Now he'll have to carry it forward. Hendricks has got an open field shot at him, and he spins away from Hendricks. And also coming up to make the tackle is Julian Mims. And it's a good decision by John Leonard when all his receivers were covered. Rather than throw it into defensive traffic, he scrambled. He'll be short on a 4th and 4 from the 48.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. And John Leonard has made very few bad decisions today. If he's done, it's been nothing. If he has, it's been nothing that's gloomed or stuck out, because it's just been petty little things like maybe he should have thrown it here or held on longer or something like that. I mean, he's done a fantastic job. All his decisions have been wise. But again, the Warrior defense will have to step it up now, leading by only 8 points.
Glenn Turner averaging 43 yards punting. And we'll see what kind of coverage they get from their special teams. Santa Monica is going to try and set up a return, but a fair catch taken by Sykes at the 25, make it the 26-yard line.
And the offense coming onto the field, just feeling the life. The defense coming off, pumping their arms, and the special teams crew cheering. So, I mean, these guys are really feeling it for Santa Monica. Thought that they were buried earlier. The lead grew and grew for the Warriors, and they find themselves right in this thing, down only 8. Santa Monica with 513 yards of total offense. Now they're just behind Camino. We're going to see over 1,000 yards of total offense by these two schools. An amazing, amazing gunning display today.
From the 26, 10:34 to go. Cephas in motion. Smith out of the shotgun, gets pressure from Jackson. They take Jackson out of the play. Throwing deep. He's got Sykes open, makes over-the-shoulder catch at the 28-yard line. First down and a big gain. Smith just lays it in there perfect along the sidelines. They're going to say that he's knocked out at about the 27. So that is quite a pickup.
Unbelievable. There's Daniel Luque's mom once again. She's in the crowd. Can't believe it. The Warriors arguing, Mike, whether or not he was actually inbounds to make that call, because there was a little bit of bobbling going on the initial attempt to catch the ball. So we'll see if we can see something from this angle. Now we'll see if he has possession before he goes out of bounds. So there's the reach and a little bobble. Now does he have it there? 1 and 2. He's got the foot in if he has possession.
Here's a handoff. Brown coming near side. Stopped at the 25-yard line. And you can see his right foot gets right to the white when he's still juggling the ball.
Does he have it there? That foot is out. The left one came down. It was in. We couldn't see if he had the ball yet. Only the official could, but he was back where we were, Mike, looking from the 50-yard line. So if he saw the defenders back as well, he wouldn't have known.
Well, the Warriors have won some shootouts this year. They scored 63 in the win over Golden West, 57 in a win over Fullerton, 41 in a win over Saddleback, and 50 in a win over Orange Coast. Here's Smith. Pump fake. He's going to scramble the 20. And the Warriors drop him right there. Elvian Yee comes in to put a finishing stop. And there is 9:35 to go.
Well, we had a flag come down about 2 seconds after the ball was snapped. So don't know if we had some kind of formation problem. We'll see what the call is. Or offsides against the Warriors.
So after Smith scrambles, the ball is advanced to the 20.
There you see the flag coming down. And Smith just deciding to run for it. Gets up to the 20.
Jackson comes in, puts the leather right into Brown, and he loses 2 back to the 22. Adele Tricky Brown said, "Who's blocking on Jackson? Where did he come from?"
Nobody. That's the answer. Jackson just bull rushing right his way in there. Smith 22 for 36, 278 yards passing, the 2 TDs, the 1 rushing TD. And Mike, you realize they're 1 score away from tying this thing. I can't believe it. As a 2-point conversion, if that's successful, we got a tie game at 60, 120 points. Are you kidding me?
From the 22, whoops, Cephas goes in motion.
Whoops, we got a wide receiver downfield for the ball snap.
Somebody's got a happy whistle.
Well, the clock didn't stop.
Gave it 3 toots on that one.
Yep.
Back to the 27.
Well, they marked it off before Jim Farmer even makes a call. And there you see people starting to bundle up. Featherstone's got his arms crossed now on the far sideline. Much cooler down in the field. Steve Schmidt hanging out some kind of sign. I don't know what that means, Mike.
The old slap on the backside. 60-38. I'm not sure if Warrior basketball can put up a total like that.
Well,
what an inaugural game for the Southbay Classic. We're glad you're watching Warrior football, and Mike Kennedy with Chris Ratcliffe. And the Warriors trying to stop this potent offense from Santa Monica. Get the ball back in the hands of John Leonard with 8:45 to go. Smith is in the slot, strikes to the far side. Only 2 receivers in the pattern. Dylan Smith, he's got an open man, completes it to Vaughn Smith to the 5.
whoa!
They drive him out of bounds. They say he stepped out when the Warriors hit him, so no touchdown.
Oh, he flipped the ball, and intentionally, but it looked like an intentional fumble. We could tell he was been out of bounds already.
He's out at about the 9. It's inside the 10 on the far side. Stops the clock with 8:36 to go. Time for the Warriors to come up with the old defensive stand or put in their 12th defensive player.
Yeah.
Trick them.
Anything. I don't know if that would stop at this point. Everything going right for the Cavaliers, Mike.
60-52. Smith near side. Here's Brown, who has 2 scores. Sweeping. Corner of the end zone. Touchdown. The Warriors give up a score with 8:29 to go, and the Corsairs from Santa Monica have come all the way back. They're within a 2-point conversion of tying this ball game. It's 60-58 in the most unbelievable afternoon of football that we've ever seen.
It's oftentimes, I think, that 60 points just isn't enough scoring in a football game. You really need to get 70 or 80 to have a chance to win. And adding to this total now for the Corsairs, just going around the outside, and Gonzo Brown. I mean, that's his 3rd score. They need a 2-point conversion. They're calling for a timeout here in the booth because of the miscommunication. This is a very important 2-point conversion, Mike. 60-58. The offensive coordinator in the booth next to us doesn't even need a headset. No, they can hear him down on the field.
He can just shout from up here, and I'm sure the players could hear him because as soon as he yelled timeout, they turned and called timeout. So Brown goes in from 9, and that is his 3rd touchdown, plus a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, he has quietly put together a fine second half after being really shut down in the second quarter. He wasn't heard from, wasn't much going on. The cheerleaders now for the Corsairs are up making some noise. They finally got something to shout about. I just can't believe the way that they have snuck back into this football game. El Camino, 60 points, thinking you're fine, and all of a sudden you're nursing a 2-point lead and going to ask your defense here to hold.
It's a record-breaking afternoon for John Leonard, but unless the defense can hold, scoring by El Turkey Brown, he's got 18 points on the afternoon.
Samo with 573 yards of total offense. El Camino's 606. 1,100 total offensive yards with still 8 minutes remaining in this game.
Well, there won't be anybody asking for a refund for excitement this afternoon. It's 60-58. We still have 8.5 minutes to go, and Santa Monica looking to tie it. They put Cephas in motion. Here comes Grant. The pass will be tipped and captured by Cipolla. He loses it in the end zone, and the Warriors recover because you can run it back for a 2-point the other way, and they're going to rule it a safety.
It was an intentional lateral is what they're going to call, Mike, and I tend to
It looks like he fumbled it. If it is a safety, it is the most bizarre point after that you will ever see because it will tie the game at 60-60. But the Cipolla caught it in the end zone and didn't try and run it out. The interpretation is he tried to pitch it back, resulted in the Warriors trapped in their defensive end zone for a safety.
They're going to rule that Topola was on the 1 or 2 yard line when he pitched the ball backwards, and they're also going to rule, Mike, it was an intentional pitch. I can't believe it. One of the most bizarre plays. Look, he's up near the 2.
Pitched it to himself.
Now, where does he catch it?
At the 1, and then it looked like he was confused, and he pitches it back.
Now, when he's hit, forward progress
tried to hand it off.
Yeah.
There, and it looked like he fumbled it. They drove him back into the end zone.
Yeah, that's a really tough call for the Warriors. That's a tough break to swallow there because they could have easily cut the El Camino a break and said he was
been a fumble.
Yeah. If forward progress is stopped, it shouldn't have been a fumble. And remember now, not only that, a safety gives the ball back
to Santa Monica.
So that's huge.
Now, they've only put 1 point on the scoreboard. Well, that's not right.
For some reason, the refs are going to say that you cannot get 2 points on a conversion on the safety. So they're ruling this still the play of the conversion.
They're going to say that it's an extra point,
yes.
1 point?
Yes, there is. Only 1 point was on the line.
That is the most bizarre extra point I've ever seen.
There's only one way they can do that, and that's just to appease both schools. It's got to be two or nothing, right? But it seems like they're making a compromise, Mike. I can't believe it.
And if Santa Monica had recovered it, they would have given Santa Monica 2 points.
That's right. Absolutely right.
60-59 on a 1-point safety. Have to pull out the rule book for that one.
Well, they can't be calling it a safety now because the Warriors are not kicking off. They have somehow changed their call because the Warriors are getting the ball.
Well, that's real unusual because if it's a safety, then the Warriors would kick the ball back to Santa Monica. You're right. Here's Chapman bringing it all the way back to the 45-yard line. And again, he needed to break 1 more tackle for the return.
And again, the special teams by El Camino, simply amazing. I mean, they have done a marvelous, marvelous job. There's the story. 60-59, 8:16 remaining. And no doubt about it, the Warriors need to score. Mike, I had the same feeling you do. Whoever has the ball last is going to win because they're going to go for 2 on a final score or something. It's going to be crazy.
I'm still trying to figure out a 1-point conversion where you fumble the ball after an interception back into the end zone, but we'll have to wait for a post-game visit from the officials for that one.
So.
Okay, here's the John Leonard show. 500 yards, 7 touchdowns, leading by 1. Near hash mark, fakes the Flowers, rolls right, dumps it off. He's got Sonny Bird. Bird shakes loose. The fumble, loses the ball. It's kicked forward, then backwards, and out of bounds at the 36.
Wow.
Boy, so Bird is fortunate, so are the Warriors, that they didn't give it up on their first possession after the touchdown and 1-point conversion for Santa Monica.
Well, because of hard work, Sonny Bird picks up an extra 10 yards. Now the confusion is where to spot the ball, where it went out of bounds or where forward progress was stopped. What are they going to call? He says second down. That's what the 2 fingers indicate, and they just spotted it. Just short of the first down, so it's going to be almost a free play. No, there's the big signal. A first down, and they will move the chains.
Jim Farmer just made football history. It would have been easier to give him a 2-point safety with a conversion, tie the game up. Then we'd have something really exciting to look forward to.
Exactly. As long as Camino can stay 2 scores ahead, this 1 point really helps their cause there. They can't lose it now.
Kralik near side.
Corsairs always have to go for the conversion to 2 points to tie.
Warriors from the 35. Sonny Bird cracks up the middle. Bird with his biggest gain to the 21-yard line. First down, Warriors, and the clock will start after they move the chains.
And I think it's a good decision to keep feeding Bird, Mike. Remember, this is a guy who primarily has been blocking for the whole first half, so he's only got 4 carries for 24 yards. He's a rather fresh player. So a guy like Chapman that they've hit a lot on a lot of wide passes, you know, and a guy like Rashad Reed, and again, Delvon Flowers. These guys have been working very, very hard, so it's good to go with a quick, fresh legs like Sonny Bird.
This game now 3.5 hours old. Here's Sonny Bird, shakes off a tackle, puts his head down, carries to the 16-yard line.
See, I mean, someone can't do that that's tired. If you're feeling every hit at this point and you're not running your strongest, why, you're going to go down off that first hit. Sonny Bird right now carrying the team because of his freshness. Great job by Coach Fred Peterson and the offensive coordinating crew to decide to stick with a game plan and get with a fresh guy. Now they've just given those receivers a quick breather. So they're going to shuffle some new guys in. Now they can change up the set, and they go back to John Leonard if they want to hit the tight end again. A lot of options right now for El Camino.
Chapman goes to the right side. Flowers back in. Campbell, the tight end, on the right side. The Warriors line up with split backs behind Leonard. We're inside of 7 minutes, 6:55, with the score 60-59. Yep, that's right, 60-59. Pressure on Leonard, and they sack him for a loss back to the 23-yard line. People are going to tune in and they say, no, Kennedy screwed up. That's not the right score.
Well, it's like you're catching yourself. It's like you can't believe your own self when you say the score, and then you check it, you go, yeah, that's right. And the amount of penalties and the amount of passing has led to tremendous stoppages and clock. And there it is, 60-59.
And another penalty. This one against Santa Monica will give the Warriors a mark off to the 11-yard line.
Our production crew being very witty in the truck, Mike. They want the 24-second shot clock implemented for between scores. And it almost is accessible today.
Well, this is more exciting than the people who aren't playing who use the 24-second clock.
You got that right.
From the hash mark at the 11. Leonard. Flanker screen. Antonio Chapman. He's going to go in for another touchdown. 8 touchdown passes for John Leonard. This one's from 11 yards out. And the Warriors lead by 7. 66-59.
Well, John Leonard, on what could be his last time in a Warrior uniform, is rewriting the Warrior record book. Chapman now with 5 receptions for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he just joins the list of the tally sheet that John Leonard has left behind here on a bowl game. Remember, it was Steve Sarkisian who had his finest passing performance ever in his final game at a bowl game here in 1994. And John Leonard out of modern day is following suit, Mike.
Chapman from 11 gives the Warriors a 7-point lead. The conversion by Flynn Turner. I haven't even gone back to check how many Flynn has converted today. Probably got about 10.
Now watch a block at the top of the screen. Could be a block in the back. Right there. But no, the call doesn't come
from the front. Crayley got him from the front.
Well, good. I mean, anything in jeopardy at this point, the officials should let go. I mean, how many?
An 8-point lead at 67-59. Plenty of time left for Santa Monica. We know how quickly they can score.
All right, it's Leonard over the 500-yard mark. 504 total yards, 18 for 31. Hard to believe, 504 yards off of only 31 attempts and only 18 completions. Amazing, Mike. And a new team record for the Warriors. They have scored 67 points, and I beg your pardon, the old team record is 69. So they are now 2 points behind. Their next score will be a team record. Can you believe it? I mean,
Flynn Turner's field goal breaks the record.
Come on, Flynn, let's go. Get Turner back in there.
Flynn Turner will kick it off. Whoever watched the UCLA game and didn't come to this Warrior game, he's going to be disappointed on 2 fronts.
Yes, they are. Good point.
His squib kick's going to go out of bounds at the 22-yard line. (67-59) with the penalty on the kickoff. They'll kick it again.
And that's where he's been hooking the ball over there the whole time, Mike. For some reason, Turner, we saw him in the first half. He was kicking him over by the 10-yard line and out of bounds. Well, now he's got that same foot motion, and they're all coming out over on this side. So he has, we've seen many balls re-kicked as well. 6:14 remains, 67-59. Anybody who bet the under on this game is a sorry camper. You could tune out in the first quarter.
Well, what if you put the overs at about 150?
Then everybody would have thought you were insane as a handicapper, but you're coming up roses.
Well, the Warriors average 39 points a game. Santa Monica averages a little over 30 points a game.
Right.
It's reasonable. Yeah. Sure. Now they're going to triple that. With a squib kick again to the 25-yard line. And Eugene Sykes brings it back. It'll be 1st and 10 Santa Monica from their own 34. First down. We're getting a little punchy up here, but it's been an exciting game. And did this game start today or was that yesterday?
I believe on military time it was today. as we will have to recheck. Santa Monica can't afford to be frivolous now with the time left. 6 minutes to go in the game. They have to have another score.
Near hash mark, Smith, the quarterback. Castaneda relieved him for a couple of plays in the third. This one's incomplete, intended for Stevan Smith across the way. And the Warriors hold a collective breath.
I can tell you this, Mike, when we started, it was a day game, and we now have a night game. The sun has set. We saw the shadows, the whole process come right through, and now the lights are the only thing providing any light down there on the field because it is just about dark. We have a beautiful blue sky, not a cloud in the sky, but a cold, chilly December evening.
Backs in the I formation behind Smith, 67-59. Here's Martin with his first carry, make it Greer, 40, 30, tried to cut back at the 20-yard line. Finally brought down by Dante Childress from behind. But Greer with his longest run of the afternoon.
Boy, what did we say a second ago about fresh legs? You got to have them. You got to be able to go to the bench in a football game like this and call upon guys to be heroes.
About a 56-yard pickup.
Well, I had him for officially 53. So what a run. Greer out of Cleveland High School. 5'9", 180-pound sophomore, getting his chance.
Smith, the pass. Pressure by Jackson. Smith makes the catch. And now you can see Greer just running right by Eric Barnes. And finally Childress is going to get him from behind, along with Waller.
Inside the 20, this is where Santa Monica's done such a good job today, getting the ball home, and the Warrior defense really needing a stand, like you mentioned on the last set of downs, Mike. They need to come up with a turnover, do something to really stop the momentum of Santa Monica because they have answered every time the Warriors have put up scores.
At the 17-yard line, they sweep to the near side. They've got El Tricky Brown, who has 3 scores. Carry to the 15, where he picks up 2. Well, we thought we had a Warrior turnover on the point after, but I don't even know how to explain that play one more time.
I don't either. I guess the best case scenario would have been if Popola just would have sat down. Nothing would have happened. There wouldn't have been any points put up, and the ball would have been kicked off again to the Warriors. But because of that little quirky pitch or fumble or whatever you want to call it, it sure led to a bizarre play.
From the 15, Smith on a slant completes it. And he's got Eugene Sykes, who takes the hit, but he's inside the Warrior 5 at about the 4-yard line. First and goal, Santa Monica.
Well, it's a nice finishing hit from the cornerback Osman, 189-pounder out of San Pedro, but nevertheless, the 18th first down has occurred for the Corsairs, and I mean, the damage was done. The yardage was picked up. You might have a nice hit at the end of the play, but hey, they're knocking on the door to another score.
Clock is running with 4:20 remaining. You're watching Warrior football on TCTV. I'm Mike Kennedy with Chris Ratcliffe. From the 4, Smith goes in motion. El Tricky Brown dives to the end zone. It's a touchdown, Santa Monica. We had a late call, but he dives from the 1 and just squeezes in for a score. The line judge making the late touchdown call. 67-65, and of course Santa Monica's going to go for 2. But, with this officiating crew, maybe it'll be a 3-point conversion.
Hey, we're due for one of those.
Go for the 3-point play.
Yeah, fumble, and then you kick it through, and you get credit for a field goal. Who knows? But the call is simple. You have to go for 2 if you're Santa Monica. That's a no-brainer.
Now that's 4 touchdowns on the ground for Brown today. Martin is the up back, and Brown is the deep back.
Follows his blocker. There's the nice block. And he just carries a couple guys just far enough to reach out with the arm and put it across.
Sprint out right. Dylan Smith's pass is incomplete. So the Warrior defense finally stops Santa Monica. And believe it or not, that's probably the biggest stop that the defense have had all afternoon. 67-65, 4:03 left.
15 carries, 34 yards for Brown, so he has done everything he could just to get up to that 2-yard per carry ratio. But he has been instrumental, as you mentioned, Mike, multi-purpose yards, returning balls. As far as the PATs and their two-point conversions, he's come through there. So he has done a nice job for Coach Taylor's squad today, even though his numbers have been held down.
Warriors just holding on to that 2-point lead. And 4:03 seems like a lifetime now.
Well, what do you do now if you're the Corsair? Do you kick an onside kick, or do you punt it deep and trust your defense? In this football game, Mike, I want the ball. I do whatever it takes to get the ball. Every time they've kicked it deep, the Warriors have started at their own 40 or the 50-yard line anyway. So why not just kick it there and try to steal it?
Well, the Warriors are looking for an onside kick. I mean, they got Kevin Cooper up here at the 45-yard line. That's your backup quarterback. They got Sharon Arnold at the 45. They've got Javier Jensen at midfield.
There's not a guy out there with bad hands.
They've got everybody from their offense there, and there's a line drive kick. Hits at the 25, taken by Flowers. Flowers to the 35, cuts it back. He's got blockers, hit the 40, and goes to the 42-yard line. 1st and 10, El Camino Warriors.
And a little more John, a little more pushing and shoving. These guys aren't through at each other yet.
Every time Flowers makes that jitterbug and sidestep move, it looks like he's going to reverse it and go all the way.
I know it. And there's the first down call. Sets the play clock. We're about to get underway here. 3:50 remaining. If the Warriors could chew up a great deal of clock, then go down and score, Mike, this football game's over. But I'm not going to say anything about what's going to happen in today's game because we've seen it all. It could continue. Samo, 643 total offensive yards. El Camino, 644 total offensive yards. 1 yard difference, 2-point difference.
At the 42, Chapman in the slot. Just moves to his right. Leonard with 8 touchdown passes. This one's knocked down.
Well, they blitz, and it's knocked down by Hendricks again, the guy we talked about. What a fine defensive player. He got the big paw up there and knocked it down.
3:47 remaining. Clock is stopped. 67-65. El Camino in the first Southbay Classic, leading Santa Monica. Reed, bottom of the picture, number 5. Ball at the far hash mark with Leonard. 8 touchdown passes. Again, this one is almost picked off. And there's Ferris there to get a hand on it. And also in the face of John Leonard is Hendricks.
Well, there you see the big offensive lineman right there for the Warriors, Adrian Davila, who is graciously listed at 330 pounds. Mike thinks he lost a couple. And I'm thinking he just bulked up and he's been lifted a little more, so he just kind of resubstituted the weight proportion.
No, he got to the 330 by losing the 30.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
That's how he got to the 330.
Goodness. Well, well, then, doesn't he look like a spelt 330, Mike?
Yes, he was at 365.
Yeah, he looks great.
From the 42 on a 3rd down. Pressure on Leonard. Steps up in the pocket, delivers. This one should be complete. Across the way is Antonio Chapman with the catch. And it could give the Warriors a big 1st down at the Santa Monica 48.
Yeah, they're moving them, moving the chains. So they found a good way for the moment to stop John Leonard. And that's knock a ball down at the line of scrimmage. Don't even let it get in the hands of one of his talented receivers. And he comes away with an accuracy shot one time, and they burn him. 20 first downs. Here's the replay on the catch to Chapman. Nice job. He cushions himself. Great read.
At the 47, Flowers sweeping left across the 40, 35. They take him out at the 33, and a flag is down. Stops the clock as he goes out of bounds with 3:29 remaining. The Warriors with that 2-point lead at 67-65.
Todio Chapman, 6 receptions, 112 yards. We may have a hold here somewhere around the 35-yard line on that play.
Nice run by Del Flowers. Breaks tackles. Goes in and out of traffic, but it's going to come back.
The holding penalty backs things up. 3:29 that the Warriors still need to burn off the clock. Leonard, 19 for 33, 515 total yards.
Let's give Josh credit for doing a great job of keeping all the stats with that.
Joshua Ekram, our stat guy out of West Torrance High School, also does some reporting for the sports desk in the city of Torrance, and also works for Redondo.
At the 44 with the clock running, 3:05 to go. In the flat, behind Reed, reaches back, makes the catch. Slips the tackle, cuts back at the 35. The 30 still on his feet. He needs one block. He loses the ball. It's recovered by Santa Monica at the 23-yard line. Tobias Ferris has the recovery. Reed looked like he had a chance to score. The ball was knocked out. The clock is stopped. 2:51 to go, and life for Santa Monica at the 23.5. Make it the 24.
Mike, I'd say under normal circumstances, I don't believe it. But you know what? In this game, I'll believe anything at this point. Anything could happen.
Ferris, I think, has his second fumble recovery.
Well, the ball just fell right into his hands. It was just a wonderful presence of mind by him to fall on the ball. And after all those great stutter step pause, letting the defense go by, Reed coughed it up. Oh, boy, bad break.
Three wideouts near side. Pressure by Jackson on Smith. He'll go out at the 25. No flag, and we'll get a replay of Reed just losing and shredding tacklers, cutting back.
Amazing run. He cuts, he's back, he cuts. On everybody, he stops and then makes them commit and goes past him. Well, there's the ball just being knocked loose, and he even tried to get it back, Mike, and just being in the right spot at the right time is Ferris. He just falls on it. There's nobody else around him. He grabs it.
Well, I think Deion Sanders has been a bad influence on a lot of these receivers and kick returners because Reed was holding the ball in one hand, zigzagging in and out of traffic. It could have been knocked loose then, and then finally when he tucked it away, he just barely had a chance to put it under his shoulder. Here's a deep pass. There's only one man back there. It's Childress. So as Sykes falls down at midfield, and the ball is incomplete at about the 35. But going back to that play by Reed, just at the last second before he was hit is when he tried to tuck it under his arm.
And remember, when you're doing those cross slant stutter steps where you're pausing and then going and pausing and going, it can be a lot like a quarterback. You can come up and be hit from behind by a defenseman who's trailing you, and they'll knock the ball out just as easily as a quarterback being blindsided preparing to throw.
And in the last 3 minutes of the game, you've got to protect the possession.
Got it.
From the 24, 2:36 to go. Three wideouts near side out of the shotgun. Dylan Smith, who's having just a great game, scrambles, throws, completes it at the 40 and a first down.
Well, it is a first down, and that's the key part. The clock will stop momentarily while the chains move.
Michael Payton with the catch.
Nice tackle by Osman.
And now a late flag goes into the huddle for taunting and celebrating. This is going to go against Santa Monica.
Right, so they get the first down, but that's going to cost them big yards because remember, Mike, they're going to need a couple first downs to get downfield, to at least get within field goal range.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, and he threw it right at El Tricky Brown. And Brown was celebrating and taunting, and Jim Farmer was right there.
So they do get the first down, and then they'll mark it off. So they could be looking at a 1st and 25 here following the 15-yard penalty. And they need to be able to get to the 30-yard line. And we may have an ejection because they're going to need 60, 55 yards now, Mike, to even get within a shot of field goal range.
They're 75 yards away from a score. Here's Smith on a replay. Under pressure. Back upfield was where the unsportsmanlike penalty was called against El Tricky Brown, and that was after the play. It was a dead ball foul. And Robert Taylor is again off the bench, and Jim Farmer is telling them that Brown has been ejected. Let's take a shot at the referee talking with the coach down to our left. Paul?
He's explaining to him what's going on. There it is. Explaining to him, I think it's because he took his helmet off and said something, Mike, and you cannot take your helmet off on the playing field in an aggressive manner. That's a common known fact. Now, 302 total yards for Smith, 24 for 39 passing, so he's over the 300-yard marker. What an amazing display by two fine quarterbacks today. And there you see the frustrated Browns.
Now, this game is approaching the 4-hour mark as Smith out in the flat completes it. Eugene Sykes, who must be in double figures with reception, has the catch close to a first down at the 34.
And a player injured. It's big number 77 for the Corsair. It looks like he's got a shoulder stinger. Phil Blackman, 6'6", 280-pound tackle out of Riverham Day. It's all he can do to get back to the line of scrimmage. He's shaken up, so they can't afford to have a timeout given to them for having an injured player down the field, so he guts it out.
Santa Monica, 2 timeouts remaining. Camino College Warriors, 3 timeouts left as we look at the replay and the completion to Sykes.
Good call by you on Sykes, Mike. 11 catches now, 124 yards.
Howell, number 24, flies in there defensively for the Warriors. We have a timeout on the field with 1:44 remaining. The score stands El Camino 67-65 over Santa Monica. You're watching Warrior football on TCTV.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll interview him or not. I will. Never seen everything like this before.
I know, and amazing.
Like doing 3 games.
Paul, are you there? Paul, this is Chris. I'm going to leave when this game's over. So Mike's going to do the wrap-up and everything because I got to get down to the Queen Mary. I didn't expect it to go this long. So, yeah. So,
Welcome back to Murdoch Stadium. The first Southbay Football Classic will go down in history as a classic. 67-65, Warriors lead by 2 with 1:41 to go. Quarterback sneak by Dylan Smith trying to pick up the first down. He's got it at the Santa Monica 35-yard line, and the Warriors still have not gone to a prevent. And Smith has picked them apart today. Smith in the flat. This one through the hands of Antonio Cephas, incomplete.
19 first downs now for Santa Monica. El Camino with over 20. I mean, the numbers are staggering on the offensive side of the ball. Both coaches just begging for some defense, and they would have come away victorious today. You can phone it in either team that would have played great defense. This has been the offensive run-and-gun show. Records falling. John Leonard, 8 touchdown passes. Made a good run at Steve Sarkisian's total yards in a game.
Well, the Warrior offense probably won't get the ball back in this final 1:30.
Right. He's at 532 yards.
Santa Monica with one last drive completion to Greer. Albion has him, stops him at the 40. He'll bring up a 3rd and 5. The clock is running. 1:19 to go. No huddle for Santa Monica, down by 2. They'd like to get in position for a field goal.
They need between 20 and 25 more yards to have a realistic shot.
And their kicking game has been questionable. They've missed 3 extra points today. From the 40, Smith completes it. Eugene Sykes gets a block. He's got a first down. He's out of bounds at the Warrior 46. They'll stop the clock, move the chains inside of a minute, 57 seconds remaining. 67-65. That is the official score. 1 timeout left for Santa Monica, 3 for El Camino.
And you have to give the advantage to the Warriors here in this situation, Mike, because they've been hit a nail-biter before like this. They know how to play the final minutes against Cerritos, even though they were beaten. They've been under pressure before.
Smith rolls out. Chase completes it. First catch of the afternoon for his tight end. Coming up with it, Capolonga. Capolonga gives them a first down at the 30.
Crowd buzzing now as the chains get moved, the clock gets set and started. It's inside of 40 seconds now. Here we go.
Quick drop. Complete. Cephas goes out of bounds at the 27. Well, 31 seconds remaining.
For most teams, this would be a good shot at a field goal right here, Mike. They only need 3 points. 3 points will give them a 1-point victory. But the kicking game has been, like you said, a little bit unsure of itself for Santa Monica all day long.
Robert Taylor reminding his offensive unit that they do have 1 timeout left. If you can't get out of bounds in the last 30 seconds, use it. Smith completes it. There's Sykes. And Sykes tippy-toes down the sideline, goes out at about the 20. 25 seconds remaining.
Now, the question is, when do you kick the field goal? They move the chains. You got a fresh set of first downs. 25 seconds, only 1 timeout. Like, you want to use that timeout for the field goal if you can't get a touchdown. 320 yards passing for Smith now.
Inside the 20 at the 19. Smith back into the picture from the near sideline. Talks with the offensive coordinator on the headset up on the west side of the Murdoch Stadium press box.
Wide receiver Michael Payton also checks in way on the left.
Out of the shotgun. Smith, he drills it. He's complete. Cephas slips the tackle. 10, 5, driven out of bounds. The Warriors drilled him at about the 10. He beat 2 defenders, carries it to the 5 where he's knocked out. Anthony Cephas with a big catch.
He shedded tackles by Moala as well as Barnes. They couldn't get a hold of him, and now they're not certainly thinking about a field goal. They're thinking about a touchdown to win it.
17 seconds remaining. The Warriors leading 67-65 in field goal range. And here's Cephas, number 2, to the right side of the picture. Let's go back to live action. They're at the 5. Smith, quarterback keeper, dives to the end zone. We're waiting for the call. Clock is running, 7 seconds left. They'll take a timeout with 5 seconds to go. Smith scrambled, dived at the goal line. Everybody was worried whether or not he was in or not. There was no call from the official, and they almost forgot to call the timeout. They finally got it, their last timeout with 5 seconds to go. They're inside the 1.
I think you have to kick a field goal here. I think you have to go for it. 7 receptions, 60 yards now for Cephas. He's had a wonderful, wonderful second half. And the nose of the football right there, Mike, are you playing safety and kick the field goal? They've had trouble getting the extra points through. I think maybe you run a quarterback sneak or something like that. They were successful with it from this short distance early in the first quarter.
Well, Brown, who has 4 touchdowns from 1 and 5 yards, 3 of them from 1 yard, 1 from 5 is out of the game, so they have lost their power back. So it's all going to rely on Dylan Smith, the quarterback. They don't have Brown to go to inside the 1.
And Smith came as close as you can go without getting a touchdown on that last play. The nose of that football, folks, is right up on that goal line. It is tight. All he has to do is reach across and break that plane with the football. He seriously doesn't even need to take a step. He's just got to follow his center in. And this will be the last play of the game.
The Warriors need a goal line stand. Santa Monica, no timeouts left, are inside the 1 yard line. They trail by 2, the final play of the game. They give it to Martin. Martin in for the touchdown. 1 second left. Santa Monica comes from behind, and the clock runs out. There are flags down on the field, and Bedlam at Murdoch Stadium in the Southbay Classic. Guys are throwing water on each other. Buckets of Gatorade are flying, but we have penalties down. It cannot end on a defensive penalty. If it's offensive, I don't know what can happen. I think this game is over, Mike. 71-67. Without attempting the point after is the score, as Martin, with his first carry on the night, takes it in from a yard out. Well, we've got another flag at the 35-yard line. 2 flags are down, and the officials are ushering off the Corsair players off the field. Those are simply going to be after the touchdown penalties for celebration, regardless of the extra point or not. They're putting 2 seconds back on the clock, and the touchdown will count. Here's Martin, number 21, following behind the blocking of Regis. Well, it took a good second effort because they hadn't stopped up early, Mike. Albion Yee, number 39, the first one in for the Warriors. And it's getting ugly down on the field as both teams are yelling back and forth across at each other. So Coach Stevenson out there doing a nice job at separating his players, as well as Coach Featherstone out there to help. They're separating and keeping their guys back on the field because we'll wait for the call from the officials now. There are no players on this field at this point. Antoine Martin with his first carry, the biggest carry of his career. The officials have put 2 seconds on the clock, and the scoreboard still does not reflect the touchdown just scored by Martin. It is standing at 67-65. But he took it in with 5 seconds to go, so there could be 2 seconds left. We did see a signal for a touchdown. Right. Well, here's what should happen. If the touchdown is good, of course, if there's no offensive penalties and the touchdown counts, well, here comes the call right here. We've got unsportsmanlike conduct on Santa Monica. In other words, a dead ball foul.
Santa Monica should have to kick off. The Warriors should get one more chance to return a play, and then this football game will be over.
The touchdown is good, as ruled by referee Jim Farmer, so the score stands 71-67. This is Warrior football.
If you're working now, you'll retire later. So start saving now with U.S. Savings Bonds. Get them where you work or bank. U.S. Savings Bonds.
Welcome back to Murdoch Stadium. There are 2 seconds remaining. The clock is stopped. We have had penalties assessed against Santa Monica on the point after. The clock will not move. Santa Monica, with that touchdown by Martin, lead 71-67. Santa Monica was assessed a penalty for celebrations after that touchdown that gave them the go-ahead lead, Chris, at 71-67. El Camino will still have time to return a kickoff and hopefully get a score.
What we just saw was a half-hearted attempt at a 2-point conversion. That's over. And now we will see a kickoff to the Warriors, which the clock will start and the final 2 seconds will run out as soon as the ball is touched. So this is for all the marbles here as far as this run back is concerned. Santa Monica already celebrating, though. They've dumped the Gatorade on their coach a couple of times. I think they went and refilled the bucket so they could do it again. It felt so good. And now the Warriors with an opportunity to pull the ultimate snake bite and the ultimate payback if they were to run one back. This is where they got to pull out all the stops, Mike, and pitch the ball all over the place and do everything that they can to get back to the end zone.
So the Warriors led the entire game until 2 seconds were remaining.
That's correct. The entire game.
We were tied at one point, 14-14, and Santa Monica went ahead 17-14 with the field goal.
That's right.
And then since the first quarter, the Warriors have seen the lead built up to as many as 22 points at halftime. We have a shot of John Leonard, who has set a career touchdown passing record in one game with 8 touchdown passes today. And that might just be a footnote in this ballgame.
532 yards passing, Mike. Amazing.
Here, they will squib kick this. McGee lays it on his side, and now it'll be chaos on the return by Del Flowers. Make it Chapman. Chapman comes to the near side, gets a block from Flowers, goes up across the 50. That's the end of the ball. No, they haven't started the clock. They should have started the clock with 2 seconds to go, because that's got to be an 8-second return.
Yeah.
The clock did not move. Now it goes to 0. Believe it or not, we have reached the conclusion of the first Southbay Football Classic with the final score, Santa Monica with an unbelievable come-from-behind victory over El Camino at a score of 71-67. For Chris Ratcliffe, Paul Fernelli, our entire crew, you've been watching Warrior Football on TCTV.
Excuse me, are you Santa Claus? If you are him, here's my list.
Help the Marines make Christmas possible for less fortunate children. Donate a new toy to Toys for Tots.
Welcome back to Murdoch Stadium. The inaugural Southbay Classic is history, and the Southbay Classic was a classic. The Warriors lose as Antoine Martin scores from 1 yard out. 71-67 is the final score. Martin's touchdown comes with 2 seconds remaining. The highlight this afternoon for the Warriors, who led at halftime by 22 points by a score of 39-17, was freshman quarterback John Leonard. Leonard completed 20 of 34 for over 500 yards. He threw 8 touchdown passes to set a Warrior touchdown passing record. The defense just simply wasn't up to the task. Santa Monica, led by Dylan Smith at quarterback, and El Tricky Brown with 4 rushing touchdowns, defeat the Warriors by a score of 71-67 in the inaugural game here from El Camino. For our entire crew, I'm Mike Kennedy. For Chris Ratcliffe, you've been watching Warrior Football on TCTV. Good night, everybody, from Torrance.